Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. Sometimes American English doesn't seem to make sense. Like this.
Gloria has a lot of things going on in her life right now.
Yes, she does. Her parents are sick, her car is not working, she's building a new house, and she just got a new job.
Wow, that's a lot of stress. One more thing and she's gonna be a basket case.
Will Gloria really become a container for baskets? I don't think so. If you experience a lot of stress or try to handle too many things at the same time, your life might become very difficult. The nervous strain or tension might wear you out and leave you with a sense of hopelessness. That's what a basket case means. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you about idioms in American English. If you have heard American English, you have probably heard this. It's a dime a dozen. What does this phrase mean? Let's find out.
There's no need for you to pay $20 for that hairbrush. It's too expensive.
Why not? I really need it.
The store down the street has them at a dime a dozen. Come on, I'll show you.
When you say something is a dime a dozen, it means that there's a lot of it, it doesn't cost much, or that it isn't special. It's a dime a dozen. This is a common way of saying that something is so easy to get that it doesn't have much value. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. Now, what would you think if you heard this?
Actions speak louder than words.
If you are just beginning to learn English, this might not make sense. Let's listen and see if we can find out what this phrase means.
You keep saying that you'll help me.
I'm going to help you. Really, I am. You just have to wait a little while.
Well, we'll just wait and see. Actions speak louder than words.
It sounds like she needs to see action instead of words. And that's exactly what this phrase means. Actions speak louder than words means what you do is more important than what you say. And if you say you are going to do something, then you need to do it. This is a casual phrase, but it does have a strong meaning, especially in American business, where results are important. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. If you have ever heard American English, you may have heard this.
A day late and a dollar short.
What does this mean? Let's find out by listening to an American English conversation.
Hey, did you hear Steve was late to the birthday party and he forgot to bring a gift?
Yes, I did. He's always a day late and a dollar short to everything.
I know.
When people say a day late and a dollar short, they mean you are too late, unprepared, or disorganized. You only want to say this with your friends because it's an informal phrase. You don't want to use this in a formal or a business setting because it may be rude. Remember, a lot of American English is delivered by your facial expressions. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. Let's say you buy something, and when you pay for it, you say,
"This cost me an arm and a leg."
Do you have to give them your arm and your leg? I hope not. Let's listen to an American English conversation to see if we can find out what this means.
Did you buy that new computer?
Yeah, I did, and it cost way more than I expected it to.
How much?
Let me just tell you, it cost an arm and a leg.
When you say in American English that something costs an arm and a leg, it means that the price is very, very high. If you use this phrase, everyone in the United States will understand you. But this is an informal phrase, so don't use it in a business setting. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. Have you ever been shopping and heard someone say,
I don't want to break the bank.
This is a simple phrase that you can easily add to your American English vocabulary. Let's hear it in a conversation.
I wanted to buy a new car. I saw one at the dealership yesterday, but it was so expensive.
How expensive?
Very expensive. Way too much for me. I can't afford it, and I don't want to break the bank.
This phrase means to use up all of your money, and it comes from gambling. If a gambler wins more money than the casino has on hand, it's called breaking the bank. And when someone has no money, you can say he is broke. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. Sometimes American English is confusing and hard to understand, like
Burn the midnight oil.
everybody knows Americans burn a lot of oil. But is there a special oil that they burn in the middle of the night?
I have a big exam tomorrow.
Are you prepared?
No, not at all. I have to burn the midnight oil. I need to do well on this exam.
Americans are not burning special oil reserved for the middle of the night. They are just staying up very late. This actually makes sense if you think of a candle or a lantern and you have a lot of work to do that may take you all night. This is a phrase everybody will understand, and you can use this phrase when you have a lot of work to do and not that much time to do it in. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. Let's pretend you are in a major U.S. city. You are listening to an American English conversation, and you hear this.
Hey Bob, ever since you opened your coffee shop, you have been very busy. Is the business going well and making money?
Yeah, I can't believe it. It's going really well. In fact, my coffee shop is becoming a real cash cow for me.
How does a cow produce cash? Everyone knows cows make milk, but in American English, a cash cow is a product or service that makes a lot of money for a business. This common phrase is used in casual and business conversations. And when you use it, everyone will understand what you are saying. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. If I told you it was raining cats and dogs today, I don't think you would see this little kitten falling from the sky. But what would you see? Let's watch and find out.
The rain is coming down so hard.
I know, it's raining cats and dogs today.
This is a very common expression in American English. When you say that it's raining cats and dogs in a conversation, it's another way to say that it's raining very hard or it's raining a lot. You can use this expression anytime and everybody will understand you. So, until the next time, stay dry. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. America, the land of Hollywood, can sometimes be too concerned with things looking pretty.
This is going to cost a pretty penny.
Is she worried about making her money look good? Sometimes American English does not make any sense.
Did you see that car?
Oh my gosh, that car is awesome.
Yes, I bet it is really fast.
That car must have cost a pretty penny.
Ah, it means that something costs a lot of money. Some say the phrase came from a special coin a British king had made long ago. American English is very descriptive, and sometimes we put a colorful word in front of a noun to get our meaning across. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. If you have ever heard American English, you might have heard this.
Cut to the chase.
What does this mean?
Stop with all the details and cut to the chase. What university are you attending in the fall? I'm going to Syracuse. That's great. Congratulations.
Cut to the chase means to say what's important without delay. Just get to the point. It's like saying, I want only the important information now. This phrase started in Hollywood when silent movie directors said, cut to the chase, usually after a romantic scene. Now, when you use cut to the chase, you can say it with a happy or an angry voice, depending on your mood. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. If you've ever heard someone say that they were dressed to kill, don't worry, you're not in any danger. It's just the opposite.
Do you see that couple over there?
Yeah, it looks like they're going into that new restaurant. They look great.
Oh yeah, they are dressed to kill.
In American English, dressed to kill is a different way of saying dressed very attractively or dressed to impress. This phrase came from criminals. In the past, people who were professional criminals often dressed in fancy clothing to hide the fact that they were doing horrible things. So, if you were dressed to kill back then, you would be wearing a pretty nice looking outfit. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. Here's an example when two words used together can sound very painful.
Hey, I saw your friend Anna yesterday. She was telling me about your birthday party, and she said that it was the best party that she had been to all year. Wow, that's why my ears were burning.
If people say, my ears were burning, it means someone was talking about them, but they weren't there to hear it. Imagine a message being sent to you when people are talking about you. This comes from ancient Rome, when people believed burning ears and other sensations signaled current or future events. If it was in the right ear, the person was praised. The left ear meant evil may come. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. Have you ever heard this American English phrase?
What's the game plan?
This expression is very common in American English, but it does not have anything to do with playing a game. It's a way to ask for information.
So, what's the game plan? What are we doing tonight?
We're not sure yet. What do you want to do?
When you say, what's the game plan? It's another way to ask someone for the details of a plan. It's the strategy for accomplishing something. In sports, a game plan is a set of instructions for the players to follow so they can win the game. Outside of sports, it could be a plan for going to dinner, seeing a play, or even watching a game. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. Have you heard the phrase, get on my nerves? What does it mean in American English? Let's find out.
It really irritates me when a person's cell phone goes off during a movie.
Yeah, me too. It really gets on my nerves.
The human nervous system is a collection of the nerves in our bodies that helps us feel things. When something affects those nerves in a bad way, we can feel strange or troubled. When that happens in a non-physical way, we can say it gets on our nerves. Someone else's actions or words can get on your nerves if they do it over and over, and you want them to stop. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. If you have ever heard American English, You probably have heard this saying, "Hey man, just go with the flow." This is a fun expression that can be used in many ways. Let's listen to this idiom in an actual conversation.
Should we stop and grab something to eat before we get to the movie theater, or do you just want to grab something at the movies? What do you think?
I like to go with the flow. Whatever you decide is cool with me.
This phrase makes you think of watching water. When you go with the flow, you swim in the direction that the water's moving. It's easy. In the same way, a person who goes with the flow easily fits into a given situation. Plus, it rhymes. Go, flow. Sounds nice. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. Have you ever heard this before?
I'm starving. Let's grab a bite.
If someone has ever told you in English that they were going to grab a bite and you are confused, this is the right program for you.
All this talk about food is making me hungry.
Yeah, I'm starving too.
Do you want to grab a bite?
Sounds good.
In American English, when you say you want to grab a bite, it means that you want to eat right away, or that you're interested in eating quickly. If you want to make plans or sit down and have a nice fancy meal at a restaurant, you may want to say something else instead. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. If you have heard American English or watched an American TV show, you probably have heard this.
Hear a pin drop.
What does this phrase mean? Let's see whether we can find out by listening to an American English conversation.
I can't believe he said that. And then the room was so quiet. Nobody said a word.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop.
Pins are small and don't make noise when they fall to the floor. So, when you say you can hear a pin drop, it means that the room is silent. Usually, that's because the people are surprised or excited about something. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. What would you think if you were talking with an American and she said,
A heart of gold.
Is she rich? Is she famous? Is her heart made of gold? Let's listen to see whether we can find out.
Who helped you clean up after the big party the other night?
Bob did, and he drove 2 other guests home.
Wow, that was really nice. Bob definitely has a heart of gold.
It sounds like Bob did something very nice. People who have a heart of gold are kind and caring. Gold is very valuable, and if you have a heart of gold, your actions have great value too. This is a nice way to praise someone. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. Sometimes being truthful is hard, especially when you have to tell a person something unpleasant. There is a phrase in American English that is used for this purpose.
I just can't believe her. She said that I look sloppy and bad and that my clothes don't fit well. She said that I look like I live in a garbage can.
Well, if the shoe fits, wear it.
If someone says to you, if the shoe fits, wear it, they're saying that if something applies to you, then you should accept it. It can be unkind to say, so you should use this phrase only with people you know very well. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. In American English, when someone responds to you by saying, in your dreams, Does he mean that you're actually dreaming?
Guess what? This weekend I caught a fish this big.
No way.
Yeah, it was huge.
In your dreams, there's no way you caught a fish that big.
In your dreams is a different way of saying, I don't believe you, or there's no way that's true. It is a way to tell people that you think they are making up a story. And this phrase is used in a playful manner, usually with a smile. Ah, in your dreams. In your dreams. In your dreams. And that's English in a minute. If you're speaking American English and you see an old friend or a colleague you haven't seen in a while, you can say,
"It's been ages since we've talked."
What does this mean? To find out, let's listen to an actual conversation.
How are you? I haven't seen you for a few years.
I'm doing great. It's been ages since we've talked, hasn't it?
It's been a long time, that's for sure.
In American English, it's been ages is another way of saying it's been a long time or a long time has passed since you've seen each other. You may remember the word ages being used to talk about different periods of history, like the Ice Age, or the Stone Age, or the Bronze Age. Saying it's been ages uses exaggeration by saying it's been many of those long stretches of time since something has happened. And that's English in a minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. If you have ever heard American English before, you may have heard this.
Keep your chin up.
What does this mean? Let's find out by listening to an American English conversation.
I don't know if I can take anymore. First, my car broke down, then I was late for work, and now my boss is mad at me for being late.
You'll have a better day tomorrow. Just keep your chin up.
Keep your chin up means to keep your spirits high and remain cheerful in a difficult situation.
Keep your chin up.
This is an informal expression that can be used in any situation, and everybody in America will understand you. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. Idioms in American English can be hard to understand, so let's see if we can figure out what this idiom means.
Miss the point.
Okay, so now do you understand?
I'm not sure. Can you explain it again? I think I missed the point.
Okay, I'll explain it one more time.
It sounds like someone does not understand something, and that's exactly what miss the point means. When you miss the point, it means that you don't understand something. You can use this phrase in any situation, and everybody in America will understand you.
Miss the point.
And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. If you have ever heard American English before, you have probably heard this phrase.
That's just my 2 cents.
Does it make you wonder what pennies have to do with giving someone advice? Let's listen and find out.
I love Nickelback.
I think their music is really boring and everybody doesn't like them, but that's just my 2 cents.
My 2 cents is a different way of saying my opinion or my thoughts on the subject. 2 cents isn't a lot of money. So saying something is just my 2 cents worth is saying that your opinion might not be worth that much to someone else. In life, everyone will not always agree with you. So saying this lets people know that. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. Like most people, Americans want to look good. And many people exercise every day. Have you ever heard this phrase?
No pain, no gain.
Hey, you look great. Have you been exercising?
Yeah, every day for the last 3 months.
Well, it must be so hard to exercise for so long.
Yeah, but I want to look good, and you know, no pain, no gain.
In American English, to gain something means to get something. And often, it takes hard work, especially when you are exercising. So, in our example, although it might be hard to exercise so much, in the end, she gained the look she wanted. No pain, no gain. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. What would you think if you heard this?
Off the top of my head.
There is nothing on her head, but let's see if we can find out what she means.
Do you know Tom's email address?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I have it in my contacts list on my computer. Can I send it to you later?
Sure, that would be great. Thanks.
Off the top of my head is a common phrase that means I am trying to remember something and to give you a quick answer. But if a person's memory is bad, sometimes the information off the top of someone's head is wrong. So it's best to confirm it. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. If you listen to American English, you probably have heard this phrase.
Play it by ear.
What does it mean? Let's find out by listening to an American English conversation.
Hey, what do you want to do this weekend?
I don't know. We could see a movie or have dinner. Why don't we play it by ear?
Sure.
Play it by ear means you aren't going to make a firm plan, but will decide what to do as you go along. This idiom has a musical meaning too. When you don't have the written music for a song, but you play the notes that you think you've heard, you play it by ear. So, when you are in a situation where you make a plan as you go, you're playing it by ear. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. If you have ever heard people saying goodbye in American English, you probably have heard this.
Make sure to stay in touch.
People who don't see each other often like to find ways to stay in touch. But what does that mean?
It was great to see you at the class reunion. Now make sure to stay in touch. I want to talk to you before our next reunion.
I will. I'll stay in touch, and I'll call you sometime next week.
Staying in touch or keeping in touch says that you want to communicate with someone. It means you want to keep in contact, maybe by phone or email, even though you don't see that person often.
Make sure to stay in touch.
And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. If you have heard American English, you probably have heard this.
You better treat him with kid gloves.
Is someone telling you to put on a pair of gloves? Let's listen again.
I heard Sam is really upset.
Really?
Yes, and he may be upset for a while. You better treat him with kid gloves.
It sounds as if Sam needs to be treated carefully and gently. That's what treat him with kid gloves means. Gloves made from kid leather, leather from a lamb or a young goat, are soft. So, if someone is angry or upset, you might need to treat him with kid gloves. Very carefully.
You better treat him with kid gloves.
And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. Sometimes American English doesn't seem to make sense, like this.
I'm under the weather.
Under the weather? What could that mean?
Are you okay? Not really. I think I'm a little bit under the weather. You should go home and get some rest.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
If you stand under the weather, you might have a dark storm cloud over your head, and you might not feel very well. When you say you are under the weather, it means you are sick or not feeling well. This phrase comes from sailors at sea. If a ship was in bad weather and its sailors were sick, the crew would go below deck to get out from under the weather to try and feel better. And that's English in a minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. Have you ever heard someone say, "What's up?" What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Let's take a look at this conversation.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
This phrase is a casual expression and is normally used when you're talking to friends, family, or colleagues. You would not want to use it in a formal business situation. What's up is a greeting. It's a different way of saying what's happening. When you ask someone what's up in a conversation, it's another way to say hello. Ask how things are going, how the person is feeling. It's a common greeting used by just about everybody in America. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. There are times when something occurs and you might say, "This left a bad taste in my mouth." What does this phrase mean?
A bad taste in my mouth.
Hey, how was your vacation?
It was great, but we had all of the money stolen from our hotel room.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I know, the whole thing left a really bad taste in my mouth.
If something leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth, you feel there is something wrong about the situation. It gives you an unpleasant feeling or memory. Of course, you also can eat something that literally leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Either way, if something leaves a bad taste in your mouth, it isn't good. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. We have some phrases that sound a little painful, like this one.
I'm going to bite my tongue.
This does not sound good, like it might hurt. Let's listen again.
I couldn't believe that happened.
I know. Are you going to say something?
No, I'm going to bite my tongue.
I can't believe you're not going to say something.
In American English, if I say that I'm going to bite my tongue, it means that I won't talk about something. I am going to keep quiet. This is an informal phrase, not one for business.
I'm going to bite my tongue.
And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. Imagine you are standing outside after a rainstorm and you take a deep breath. It's new, fresh, and it smells good. But what does this have to do with American English?
I love the new baseball coach. He's got great ideas for making us better players.
He does. He's like a breath of fresh air for the team.
A breath of fresh air means something new. It's a nice change from the way things used to be. You can use this phrase to describe an event, a place, or even a person. And you can use this phrase in any situation. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you all about idioms in American English. Has this ever happened to you?
What was the name of America's first president?
I can't believe you don't remember that. Come on.
I know. I've completely drawn a blank.
Draw a blank.
She could not remember that George Washington was America's first president because she drew a blank. It's another way of saying, I can't remember something. There's another meaning too. If you're looking for something but can't find it, then you draw a blank. In American English, you can use this phrase with friends or in business situations. And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute. Usually, when people say, get out of here, it's because they want you to leave. But in American English, when you say it in a certain way, it can mean something completely different.
I just moved to Washington, D.C. to start a new job.
Oh, where are you from originally?
Dallas, Texas.
Get out of here! I'm from Dallas, Texas too!
The phrase, get out of here, is a way to say something is very surprising, interesting, or totally unexpected. If you say it in an angry tone, it's telling someone to go away. Get out of here! Get out of here! But if you say it in an excited tone with a happy face, it's a friendly way of saying you can't believe what you're hearing. Get out of here! Get out of here! And that's English in a Minute. Welcome to English in a Minute, where we teach you about idioms in American English. Our language is full of fun expressions. And here at the Voice of America, we offer you high-quality English lessons 24/7. But what does this mean?
I'm learning English at the university. Where are you learning English?
I'm learning English with Voice of America. Their Learning English website is available 24/7.
24/7? Wow. Maybe I should learn English at VOA too.
There are 24 hours in a day and 7 days in a week. When you say 24/7 in a conversation, it refers to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is another way of saying all day and all night, every day of the week. And that's English in a Minute.